A lot of days I would wake up and just wish that I didn't have to. It resulted in me spiraling to one of the lowest points I've ever experienced. I wanted to come into 2025 feeling like I turned my life around. I finally felt like I was figuring out, what it was that I had to be doing to ensure that I was taking care of myself. As 2024 comes to an end, I'm just left here reflecting on, just one of the most transformative years of my life. Hopefully every year ends with me feeling like it's the most transformative year of my life, but specifically this year was very transformative because unfortunately I did have to go through very low points in order to grow out of them and blossom through the hardship that I was dealing with. 2024 brought me some crazy, insane milestones within my career itself. Going from working for somebody at a gym as a personal trainer to going fully freelance on my own, having my own clients and operating my own system was a huge step for me. Starting to teach Pilates and yoga classes, and beginning to take online clients as well were all huge steps for me. And traveling to 3 countries, 2 of which I've never been to before, was also insane and amazing and brought so many new experiences and so many lessons learned, which I will post a video on all the lessons that I learned over this year because I feel like traveling really brings the most lessons, the most perspective, because being removed from your regular day-to-day environment really just gives you so much room to really take a step back and look at, why things are the way they are. With all those great experiences, and all the fun I had on the way, all the new people I got to meet, along with that came these really low lows. I'm not the type of person to just experience an emotion and just power through it and that's it. I really try and sit and dissect and analyze why I'm feeling the way I am, where it's coming from, and how to move through it and navigate through it with the most intention and holding myself in the best way I can. There was a couple times during 2024 where I just found myself in these really low lows. Depressed is a big word, but feeling kind of depressed, and honestly I never fully experienced it before. I generally don't really battle with really depressive emotions, or I don't sit with them for a long time, but this year I definitely went through some phases of just really sitting in these depressive emotions and feelings. I found myself really struggling to stay consistent with my daily habits and routines. I was really on and off. That definitely had to do with the fact that traveling really disrupts the daily routine, which is just natural, and traveling on and off like I did really came with the sacrifice of the consistency of my daily routine, and I would just fall off and on. Sometimes I would fall off for a couple of days, sometimes I would fall off for a couple of weeks, and within those times of falling off my regular habits and routines, I just found myself slipping into old habits and patterns that don't serve me anymore, things that I used to do that I've tried to move past, Inconsistencies started snowballing and I started feeling out of control with my daily routine, which resulted in me spiraling to one of the lowest points I've ever experienced. Mentally, emotionally, and physically, I felt unmotivated, I felt uninspired, and I felt disconnected from the purpose and passion for life that I know so well. It's just a big part of my being, and it started to just feel far away from me. Even my relationship with movement and my body suffered, which was a very new experience, and I had to go through it for whatever reason I had to. But I went through some really low points of really bad body dysmorphia, going through kind of disorderly eating, not treating my body the kindest, whether it was how I looked at myself or what I was eating, which resulted in me feeling overly bloated and dealing with acne. Movement has always been a source of joy for me. Growing up dancing and doing gymnastics, that's what really got me into the gym, which got me into personal training. But movement started to feel like a chore, and I would wake up and I just would not be looking forward to the gym, and I did skip a lot of days. I did not show up for myself, I did just bullshit through a lot of my workouts and felt like it was a drag. Every single day felt like it was a drag. Getting out of bed felt like the biggest chore. A lot of days I would wake up and just wish that I didn't have to, and that was a very scary emotion to be sitting in. Feeling like you don't want to wake up, you don't want to do life, especially coming from myself, that I've always had such a strong passion and gratitude to just experience life with the ups and downs. I spent a month in India doing my yoga teacher training, and when I got home, I was feeling lost and still unmotivated, and I didn't have a really set plan for what I was going to do when I got back. And for a month after I got back, I was kind of just floating a little bit and trying to figure it out, but at the same time I was still kind of in that slump. At a certain point I just was okay, we're gonna figure this out, because I wanted to end 2024 strong. I wanted to come into 2025 feeling like I turned my life around. So one day I just decided, that's it, I had enough, we're turning this around. So I started really reflecting and analyzing why am I feeling this way? Like, what's causing it, and how can I help? You know, like, how can I change this, because I wanted to make a transformation. So while reflecting on how I got to such a low point, like how I let myself get to such a low point, I remember this powerful lesson that I learned while in India learning about the yogic philosophy. There's an 8-limb path of yoga, and each limb is another aspect of the yogic philosophy. And in the second limb of the 8-limb path of yoga, it talks about the niyamas, which focuses on self-discipline and personal practices. The niyamas teaches that consistency within your daily personal practices is a foundation to living a fulfilling life. They emphasize principles like self-purification, contentment, discipline, self-study, all that. But as I looked at my life, I realized I was not embodying those principles at all. I drifted far from those practices that ground and nourish me. Through countless pages of journaling, I realized the root of my problem, that I wasn't consistently caring for my mind, body, and soul, which is the foundation of living a peaceful and fulfilling life. So then I started to wonder, why am I being so inconsistent? Like, what's going on? Why are we being like this? And a bunch of more journal pages later, I really came to pinpoint that the problem was that I wasn't holding myself accountable. These habits that I've always kept in my life and known make a huge impact on my being, and that I knew I needed, I was neglecting. And that was like my aha moment, like where I just had like this mind-blowing moment where I was just like, maybe I just need some type of system to keep me accountable. Then I went on a deep dive on figuring out different tools that I can use to help keep myself accountable, because sometimes just telling yourself you want to do something is not enough. Basically, I was desperate for a solution at this point. Part of the process was reflecting back to the times of my life that I felt like I was thriving more, that I felt like I was consistently feeling good, feeling my best. One thing I did was look back on all of my other journals and going through the different phases of my life. Journaling has been a part of my life for a long time. During the times that I felt my best, it was always a time that I was actively either planning my day out, planning my habits for the day, keeping track of it as I went. Here's an example from 2022. This is literally like exactly 2 years ago. As you can see, I wrote down a list of these things I wanted to get done. Included was yoga, meditate, read, clean room, skate, edit, nutrition. I literally would just write this down in the beginning of the day and then check it off as I went. Throughout my day, I would write down affirmations, and I just remember those were always the days that I felt my best, like the days that I tracked what I did and that I pre-planned and had some type of external accountability on paper or in my notes app, that I always felt my best. So that's also kind of what solidified that having some type of tracker and planner would help me. And after hours of spending time researching and trying out different planners and trackers, I found Notion, I created a couple different types of planners and trackers, and I was trying them out. It was very time consuming and definitely a learning curve, especially using a new system like Notion with no background in it. That's what I kept seeing recommended, so that's really what I got into. And then after a while of getting the hang of seeing what I liked, seeing what worked for me, I really got consistent in using this daily habit tracker and this daily planner. Honestly, over time, like the external accountability of being able to see my progress, being able to physically check off boxes and write down affirmations and keep myself accountable with something outside of myself made a huge difference. Just over a span of a couple weeks, I began to feel like myself again. I began to feel excited to wake up every day. Getting out of bed is always hard, but it didn't feel the same. I began to feel, more level-headed, clear-minded, more grateful to be alive, more passionate and purposeful in my daily experience. And that's who I am at my core. And so it felt so liberating and honestly like so amazing to start to feel like myself again after hitting so many lows throughout the year randomly and not really understanding what was going on. I finally felt like I was figuring out, what it was that I had to be doing to ensure that I was taking care of myself. Because finding tools and ways to help you embody the highest version of yourself is a number one priority. I just finally felt like I was putting that priority first, and taking care of myself became my priority once again. I was being consistent. I was seeing the fruits of my labor. I quickly started to rekindle my love for movement, being excited for my workouts. I healed my relationship with my body that I was dealing with, consistently talking to myself kindly and loving and appreciating every aspect of my body, rediscovering the excitement and love for just everyday living. feeling peace, purpose, and passion. And that's why I created the wellness habit tracker, because at the end of the day, I'm a holistic wellness coach, whether it's personal training, nutrition coaching, yoga instructing, lifestyle, and mindset coaching. This is what my work is in life. This is what my purpose is in life. And it was like a no-brainer for me seeing how much this habit tracker like impacted my life personally, and just over literally a month of consistently using this tracker changed my life so much and brought me back to feeling like myself so deeply that it was no questions asked. I wanted to make this something that I could share with the public. I made it free because I just wanted it for anybody who wants it. You know, I spent a lot of time, like, I was using like not as cute of a version. Like, I took a lot of time to try and make it look a little more aesthetic and make it more user friendly, and I also made it more intentional by connecting it to the niyamas. So that really inspired me to make the tracker in the first place. I just really wanted to share the tool that helped me get unstuck for anybody that might be in a similar situation. Sometimes all it takes is a small little tool to help you get back on track, because it really is the small actions that lead to the bigger transformations. And we can see that every day by just my 5 minutes of meditating, my writing down 3 affirmations, me doing my workout. All are things that over time compile to me feeling like the best and fullest version of me. I'm really proud of this tracker because, you know, there are so many habit trackers out there. I really wanted this to have a personal, unique touch to it that resonated with me. That's why I put so much emphasis on the niyamas being the inspiration behind it. I wanted this tracker to be a holistic approach to self-care, incorporating all the key aspects of personal practices that nurture our body, minds, and spirit. So the tracker is just here to be a tool to help you create a more balanced daily routine that promotes inner harmony and like long-term well-being. Just become a part of our daily lifestyle. To make sure that we have well-rounded habits throughout our days, it's important to have aspects from all the personal practices, including physical health and well-being, which can relate to shocha, which means purity. Habits that you can do for physical health and well-being include exercising, doing yoga, going on walks, staying hydrated, mindful eating, keeping your space clean, taking care of your emotional and mental balance, which matches up to santosha, which is contentment. So this can be by practicing gratitude, mindfulness practice like a meditation, affirmations, reflecting on how you feel, making time to feel what you need to feel, enveloping yourself in the joy and appreciation for the things around us. Commitment and self-discipline matching up to tapas. Discipline is key in transformation. To create change, we need consistency, and consistency requires commitment, and commitment means doing things even when they get tough, which requires discipline. So a good daily habit tracker has to include aspects of mental strength, focus, and resilience. Self-awareness and growth, matching up to svadhyaya, which is self-study, is the practice of reflection and introspection, which allows us to really understand ourselves and really learn from our experiences to be able to grow mindfully. Then we're better able to understand our motivations and our desires and move forward accordingly with authenticity to our deep calling. Your daily routine should include habits that foster self-awareness and make space for your thoughts, emotions, and personal growth. You can do this through journaling, mood tracking, reading something that's educating you on yourself, whether it's a spiritual or inspirational text that deepens your knowledge, and meditation to observe your thoughts and your inner dialogue. And lastly, surrender and trust is so important, which matches up with Ishvara Pranidhana, surrendering to a higher power or just surrendering to a bigger process outside of just yourself, letting go of control and trusting the process, trusting divine timing. So your daily routine should also remind you to connect with whatever it is that allows you to surrender to what's beyond your control in the bigger picture of things. Habits that reflect this can be prayer, manifestation, affirmations of trust, giving back to others in a selfless way, actively practicing releasing anxiety, and seeing that there is so much more than the struggle of the current moment. So when you create a habit tracker that reflects aspects from all the niyamas, creating a well-rounded routine, nurturing all aspects of your being. It doesn't just support a productive daily routine, it supports a daily routine that helps cultivate a peace and harmony within your life, within yourself, coming back to the essence of your being. I'm just so thankful because the more that I reflect, the more I know that in those moments of lows, I just felt like it was so hard to see how things would change or when it would change. And I remember just feeling so hopeless within these like really low points of my journey this year. And I'm so thankful to be on the other side of it. And I wasn't sure if it would happen within this year. So I'm so glad that I took the actionable steps needed to create the change I wanted to see. I didn't allow myself to be a victim of those feelings that I was having, and I took accountability for my own actions. I took my power into my own hands and I used what I could to take myself out of whatever I was dealing with. You can too if you're experiencing or have experienced similar feelings of feeling stuck, feeling hopeless, feeling unmotivated, feeling depressive, or you just generally want to have some type of way to keep track of your habits, just because it feels good also to be able to look back at your daily planner, because in this planner there's a space to track your habits daily, but then there's also a space where you can see all your progress through the week, through the month, and through the year, and it just feels rewarding. And it's good to have something where you can look at a bigger picture of what your consistency has looked like. My goal is never to be 100% with all of my habits. As you can see, I usually don't hit 100% progress on my day-to-day habits. That's because I'm realistic with my goals, and it's so important to be realistic and sustainable with your goals. The point is not to get to 100%. The point is just so that I can see that I keep showing up for myself and I keep trying, and even on days that I get a lower percent, I just try the next day again and again and again, and it's just beautiful to see that I keep showing up for myself. So if you want to show up for yourself too, I put a link to the wellness habit tracker in my description. It's free, like I said. It's launching January 1st of 2025. You can use it whenever you would like. You can just try it out and see if it's something that can help you out. You know, everybody works differently. Everybody needs different tools, but this is a tool that really helped me genuinely, and I wanted to share it with the people, because if anybody else can, you know, benefit from the things that I've learned from this year, I would love for you to. Just remember to breathe deeply and live mindfully, and taking care of yourself is not a chore, it's a privilege. Thank you for watching. I'm wishing you a beautiful 2025. Take some time to reflect on your year, to plan for your next year, and just to, you know, appreciate another year gone, another year had, and another year to come.